Welcome to our third edition of 10 Minutes with Trey on Thursdays while drinking tea. Throwing in one more tea there. Tea to the fourth power now. We're glad that you could join us again. Today we're going to talk a little bit about change. And Trey, I think you have the first question.
Yes, I wondered what kind of things have changed for y'all?
Not
Natalie?
much. Just kidding. Pretty much a lot of things have changed for us. The first major thing that has changed for us is just that I have all three kids at home with me 24/7. They're my quarantine buddies, and I'm being stretched.
Have fun.
Being stretched in a lot of ways. The biggest way that I can see that is just with mood swings, getting irritable, getting a little bit more tense, and but with that, the good change that's happened is we've had a lot more time together as a family, and so there's been some pretty cool things that have happened from that.
Yeah, nice thing is all my appointments, I can't really meet with anybody. So every night we have free. I'm barbecuing almost every night. We've had more time as a family, which is good. Majority of it's good. But there's also times where our emotions get in the way. I can become more tense at times, especially with dealing with changes at work and making sure we're complying with the county. So there's a lot of good changes. There's a lot of hard changes. It just kind of depends on the day. Overall, good though.
Yeah.
Okay. At home, what's the most stressful change?
Most stressful change, I think, is just we're together all the time with no space to go anywhere. Even if you go outside, you got to wear a mask now.
Yeah, at times it just feels a little suffocating. I'm more of an adventurous, spontaneous soul, so I like to have fun. So I can do that with the kids, but then there's a level of like, I need adult interaction. And so when Daniel gets home, it's like, here's all of my words for the day, and it just kind of,
She needs
I
to
don't
get
know.
out. One day we just sent her to Chick-fil-A by herself to get a chocolate shake,
yeah,
just so she could have
things
time.
like that. Yeah,
And she brought me home one too. Yeah, that's nice.
win-win.
Great. So with change, one of the most important things is that it seems like everything is changing right now. And when everything changes, we want to make it the focus of what we focus on. And the more we focus on things, the harder it is to really kind of get the big picture. And it's not just change, it's continuous change that we're dealing with. And continuous change is so much more difficult. Like every time something changes, then you start getting used to it and something else changes and you start getting used to it. It just kind of feels relentless. It's harder to deal with. So you have to kind of really take a step back and focus on, well, since there's so much change, what's not changing? Like the people that you love and care about hasn't changed. The people that care about you hasn't changed. And it's really important. And then there are everyday things that we do that haven't changed. We still have to eat. We still need to shower.
Yeah, Daniel, you hear that?
I shower at least once a day. You need to wash your hair more.
See, I put that in because I have two teenage boys who don't see the value of a shower yet.
And I tell her to wash her hair more because she says girls don't have to wash their hair all the
No,
time.
I'm every other day
That's the point.
schedule. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Yep. But there are these
Sorry,
things.
Our kids are talking, so 1 second.
Yep. One thing that never changes is kids will be kids. Definitely. This is always the same.
They're always here.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been getting all these memes now because all my friends have a lot of time. And I saw a really cool one. And it was that, that our church buildings may be empty for Easter, but the tomb was empty. And it's like, that's the same. So when you look at this side of there's always this change, but there's always the same. That what we're doing this Easter is going to be totally different. But what we're celebrating and what we're remembering is exactly the same. Hebrews 8:13 says Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So that's not going to change. So the more we focus on things that don't change, that's what comforts us.
Yeah.
And is change hard for everybody?
Well, yes and no. There are these people that thrive on change. There are these people that just love it. And there are these people that, before all this happened, hated change. But even with this current change, it's different. This change really involves a lack of freedom, and that's kind of constricting. And so the people that normally love change will be like, oh, well, I like change, but I don't like this change. So it is an adjustment for everybody.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, even in regards to meeting with small groups online, it's different because we're not together, but it does feel normal when we're just hanging out with our friends on Zoom.
Yeah.
Another thing too, my parents started to read little kid stories through WhatsApp. So at nighttime we can watch a story that their grandma has read to them, and it's actually kind of been a sweet moment. So I think there's even creativity as things change of how you can keep things the same and make it feel like it was. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Absolutely.
I love when Trey affirms me, says yes. All right, next question that we have for you, Trey, is what are the top 3 things that you think will help us deal with change?
I think one of the most important, I would say the first one is to think about the here and now. You can spend all this time thinking about the way things could be or the way you would want them to be or worrying about what will be. But if you just focus on how you are right now, it kind of settles your feelings in. And that's a big one. Second, there are a lot of changes, so don't feel guilty about changes you have to make. Like we talked about, more screen time. Don't feel bad about that. That's like self-care. So there are a lot of changes that we have to make. Beating yourself up over it isn't going to help at all. And then I would say third is laugh. Laughter is healthy. It gets these chemicals going in your brain.
I agree.
Happy chemicals. So laugh. Laugh a lot.
All right, great. Thank you, Trey.
I know what we are going through and our friends too, but is it like this for everybody?
Well, it's back to that. The one constant is change. Everybody's dealing with change, and it just looks really different. You know, there are a lot of different phases of life. You know, when you're single, newly married, young kids, older kids, empty nesters. We've kind of also created what I call the returning to the nesters. You know, all of these college kids coming back home right now. You know, even high school kids that were pretty independent are a little more needy right now, and that's pretty normal. And then you've got people who are widowed. A lot of different things. Everyone has change, and it's kind of important to look at that change outside of you. You know, you've got the parents home with little kids trying to figure out how to teach them. You know, that old saying, you can either be happy or teach your kids math. You know, it's one of those, there's that makes your house seem, yeah. And it makes your house seem small and loud. And then there are others who, they can't go to their normal places where they meet with everybody, and their houses feel big and quiet and lonely. So thinking about all the people around you and where they are and what that means for them is really good for all of us. It kind of gets us out of our own world and thinking about others, and then it helps us figure out what to do, who to connect to, who to talk to, who's going to need what. So thinking through that and where everyone is in their stage of life will really kind of help you figure out how to connect with the people around you and to all get through this together by connecting and loving on each other.
I like that. And I think it's good, even a good challenge for us, a good application point is, I mean, even think through 5 friends or 5 family members, those together. Think through how this situation is affecting them, and then call them and try to lean into what they're feeling. Encourage your grandparents who feel distant, alone, scared. Call your friend who has a bunch of kids and try to pray over them for patience. Call someone who may be struggling with loneliness and encourage them. I think there's one thing to be aware of what someone's going through, but then to actually act on it, call them, intentionally encourage them, and build them up. I think that's important for all of us to do.
Absolutely.
Well, Trey, thank you for your insights and how we can deal with change. If you watched this whole video, hope this helped you in some way, and we hope that you join us for Easter services this coming weekend, Saturday at 4 p.m., Sunday at 7, 9, 11, and 1, as we focus our attention on the one truth that has never changed, that Jesus Christ has raised from the dead, and we can celebrate him and give him the glory he deserves. God bless you, and have a great Thursday.